Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, October 30th, 2022, after 3 p.m. Eastern. Just to reiterate, it is October 30th, 2022, as we all know. And interestingly enough, all these predictions of doom and gloom and darkness in 10 to 14 days, I highly recommend that you scrutinize these people that put this information out and pretty much take it with a grain of salt, because as I've mentioned in the past, 99% of the things that these talking heads predict never come to pass. And then people worry and stress and fear about it because they believe that it may happen, and then it doesn't. Because anybody that would announce what's going to happen, by announcing it, it doesn't happen. So you keep it in secrecy, and you just let it take place, and that's usually when the surprise comes. If the only prayer you said in your whole life was thank you, that would suffice. Meister Eckhart. What if the goal of our lives was to live in a constant state of gratitude 24 hours a day? Not just once in a while, because we all at times, we feel grateful for things. But in that state, to stay in that state of gratitude, is one of the highest vibrations on this planet. It is a close cousin to love, and it comes spontaneously from opening our hearts to life itself. The energy of gratitude is so transformational, so healing, and so powerful that it can be the one secret to increasing our manifesting vibrations and attracting everything we desire in this life. Appreciation instantly opens our hearts, connects us to the divine power in all of existence. In just one moment of gratitude, we can feel that we have leagues of archangels behind us orchestrating this life to unfold magically in our favor. So the invitation for you today is to take on a 24-hour gratitude challenge and see what happens for you. This exercise is guaranteed to upgrade everything about our lives. So you ask yourself if you're ready. So it all begins in this now moment. To imagine we are putting on gratitude glasses that make us see, feel, and believe everything in our lives is being fulfilled with this gracious, appreciative, joyous state. And imagine these magical etheric glasses have melted into your face, merged with your brain. Feel that they have softened into your system inside, where your brain is now connecting with your heart. Now practice looking at one thing in you physically, around you, or some thought in your mind with your new gratitude vision. It really doesn't matter what we are thankful for. It could be anything. Maybe you're thankful that you have toes and fingers, or some random tree outside, or that you can read, see, smell, taste, hear this message, or perhaps for someone who loves you in your life. The trick here is that to smear this gracious gratitude over everything that your mind is noticing, whatever it is that your mind is focusing upon. Find some way to be grateful for it. Find some way to be grateful for it. Give your gratitude muscles a workout. See every single thing through this gratitude heart, brain, and eyes that you have. Feel each situation, person, or incident from the heart of your new profound super ability to appreciate, relax, and be deeply grateful for it. Once you get into it, you'll see how fun, enjoyable, and addictive it is. Now here comes the fun part. For the next 24 hours, continue bringing a gentle awareness to how you are secretly wearing your new gratitude glasses. Do not tell anyone you are doing this practice. Do not tell anyone you are doing this practice. No matter what happens, meet each situation with grateful eyes. Practice seeing all meetings, interactions, life experiences, and situations as a gift. Connect to each person with trust, knowing in some way they are a teacher working undercover for the divine, and explore the valuable life lesson everyone is teaching you. Remember, the God force is behind it all, giving you exactly every little thing you need for your soul's enlightenment. To speak gratitude is courteous and pleasant. To enact gratitude is generous and noble. But to live gratitude is to touch heaven. Johannes A. Gardner. The real question I'd like you to ask yourself now is, how are you planning to remember you're wearing your gratitude glasses when life throws you an emotional curveball? How are you going to remain in this state of appreciation when others are not? And the answer is simple. Listen to your body. When you're not in a state of gratitude, your body will feel contracted, stressed, tense, and tight. When this occurs, reboot. Refocus your mind back on what you're thankful for instantly. See the deep and eternal love in disguise. It will come back to you when you just refocus. All it takes is one moment of awareness. If for some bizarre reason your gratitude glasses completely fall off for many hours because of some super important, horrific circumstance that wasn't in alignment with your expectations, take a deep breath and remember this message. Even though this event was not what my ego wanted, it was what grace needed for the highest good of all concerned. Sometimes we cannot see the bigger picture, why bad things happen to good people, yet as far as our soul is concerned on its infinite journey, it is all karmic fuel for the fire of one's spiritual awakening. By accepting the sole purpose of each negative experience is to push you deeper inside to find your greatest source of gratitude. You can welcome them all with open arms. It really rests on all of us, each of us, to how we view things. That's it. It's how we view things. It's not, and how we register them, and how the mind calculates and orchestrates. And it's understanding things that we are presented with in this life. How things are structured, where they came from, how it came to be, the level of consciousness and change. You know, we've been talking about psychoanalysis, that we remain on the same level. The level never changes, but we are adjusted on the same level again. Our answers, our consciousness, our witnessing capacity doesn't change. And as we move into meditation, we go higher and higher. And we can look down at our problems. And those problems we're looking down on are in the valley. And we've come to a hill. And from this perspective, this height, all the problems look different. And the more the distance grows, the more you become capable of observing them as if they do not belong to you. Remember one thing, if a problem doesn't belong to you, you can always give good advice on how to solve it. If it belongs to someone else, if someone else is in difficulty, you are always wise. You can give very good advice, but if the problem belongs to you, you simply do not know what to do. What has happened? The problem is the same, but now you are involved in it. And when it was someone else's problem, you had a distance from which to look at it impartially. Every one of us is a good advisor for others. But when it happens to oneself, then all our wisdom is lost because the distance is lost. Someone has died and the family is in anguish. You can give good advice. You can say the soul is immortal. You can say nothing dies, that life is eternal. But someone has died whom you loved, who means something to you, who was near, intimate, and now you are beating your breast and crying and weeping. Now you cannot give the same advice to yourself. That life is immortal and no one ever dies. Now it looks absurd. You ever been in that position? So remember, while advising others, you may look foolish when you say to someone whose beloved has died that life is immortal. He will think you're stupid. You're talking nonsense to him. He knows what it feels like to lose a beloved. No philosophy can give consolation. And he knows what you are saying. He knows why you are saying this. Because the problem is not yours. You can afford to be wise. He cannot afford it. Through meditation, you transcend your ordinary being. A new point arises in you from where you can look at things in a new way. The distance is created. Problems are not there, but they are now very far away, as if happening to someone else. Now you can give yourself good advice, but there's no need to give it. The very distance will make you wise. So the whole technique of meditation consists of creating a distance between the problems and you. Right now, as you are so entangled with your problems that you cannot think, you cannot contemplate, you cannot see through them, you cannot witness them. Psychoanalysis helps just for readjustment. It is not a transformation. That is one thing. And another thing is psychoanalysis, you become dependent. You need an expert, external authority. And the expert will do everything. It will take 3 years, 4 years, or even 5 years if the problem is very deep, and you will become just a dependent. You are not growing. Rather, on the contrary, you are becoming more and more dependent. You will need this psychoanalysis every day, or twice a week, or thrice a week. And once you miss him, you will feel lost. If you stop psychoanalysis, you will feel lost. It becomes intoxicating. It becomes alcoholic. You start being dependent upon someone who is an expert. You can tell your problem to him, and he will solve it. He will discuss it, and he will bring the unconscious roots out of you. But he will do it. The solving will be done by someone else. Remember, a problem solved by someone else is not going to give you more maturity. A problem solved by someone else may give him some maturity, but it cannot give you maturity. You may become more immature. Then whenever there is a problem, you will need some expert advice, some professional advice. And I do not think that even psychoanalysis grow mature through your problems because they go for psychoanalysis to another psychoanalysis. They have their own problems. They solve your problems, but they cannot solve their problems. Again, the questions of distance. Wilhelm Reich himself tried again and again and again to be psychoanalyzed by Sigmund Freud. Freud refused psychoanalyzing, and all his life he felt hurt because Freud refused him. And Freudians, Orthodox Freudians, never accepted that he was an expert because he himself had not been psychoanalyzed. Every psychoanalyst goes to someone else with his own problems. It is just like the medical profession. If the doctor himself is ill, he cannot diagnose himself. He is so near that he is afraid. So he will go to someone else. If you're a surgeon, you cannot operate upon your own body, or can you? The distance is not there. It is difficult to operate upon one's own body. But it is also difficult if your wife is really ill and a serious operation is to be done. You cannot operate because your hand will tremble. The intimacy is such that you will be afraid. You cannot be a good surgeon. You will have to take advice. You will have to call some other surgeon to operate on your wife. Now, what is happening? You have been operating. You have done many operations, and now what is happening? You cannot do it on your child or your wife because the distance is so little. And if there is no distance, without distance, you cannot be impartial. So a psychoanalyst can help others, but when he is in trouble, he will have to take advice. He will have to be psychoanalyzed by someone else. And this is really strange that even a person like Wilhelm Reich goes mad in the end. We cannot conceive a Buddha going mad, or can you conceive of it? And if a Buddha can go mad, then there is no way out of this misery. It is inconceivable that Buddha goes mad. Look at Sigmund Freud's life. He is the father and founder of psychoanalysis. He went on talking about problems very deeply, but as far as he himself was concerned, not a single problem was solved. Not a single problem was solved at all. Fear was as much a problem for him as for anybody else. He was so afraid and nervous. Anger was as much a problem for him as for anybody else. He would get so angry that in anger, he would fall unconscious in a fit. And this man knew so much about human mind, but as far as he himself was concerned, that knowledge seems of no use. Jung himself would fall unconscious when in deep anxiety. He would have a fit. Most of you have heard of Carl Jung. Pronounced spelled J-U-N-G, Carl Jung. What is the problem? Distance is the problem. They had been thinking about problems, but they had not been growing in consciousness. They thought intellectually, keenly, logically, and they concluded something. Sometimes those conclusions may have been right, but that is not the point. They did not grow in consciousness. They did not become in any way superhuman. And unless you transcend humanity, the problems cannot be solved. They can only be adjusted. Freud said in the last days of his life that man is incurable. At the most, we can hope that he can exist as an adjusted being. There is no other hope. That is at the most. Man cannot be happy, Freud says. At the most, we can arrange it so that he is not very unhappy, and that's all. But he cannot be happy. He is incurable. And what type of solution can come out of such an attitude? And this is after 40 years' experience with human beings. He concludes that man cannot be helped, that man is naturally by nature miserable, and that he will remain in misery. But the East says that man can be transcended. It is not man who is incurable. It is his minimal consciousness that creates the problem. Grow in consciousness, increase in consciousness, and problems decrease. They exist in the same proportion. If there is a minimum of consciousness, there is a maximum of problems. If there is a maximum of consciousness, there is a minimum of problems. With total consciousness, problems simply disappear. Just like the sun rises in the morning and dewdrops disappear. With total consciousness, there are no problems, because with a total consciousness, problems cannot arise. And the most psychoanalysis can be a cure, but problems will go on arising It is not a preventative. Meditation goes to the very depths. It will change you so that problems cannot arise. Psychoanalysis is concerned with problems. Meditation is concerned with you directly. It is not concerned with problems at all. That is why the greatest of Eastern psychologists, Buddha, Mahavira, and Krishna, do not talk about problems. Because of this, Western psychology thinks that psychology is a new phenomenon, and it is not. It was just in this century, in the first part of this century, that Freud could prove scientifically there is such a thing as the unconscious. Buddha talked about it 25 centuries before. The Buddha has never tackled any problem because, says Buddha, problems are infinite. If you go on tackling every problem, you will never really be able to tackle them. Tackle the man himself, just forget the problems. Tackle the being itself and help the being to grow. As the being grows, as it becomes more conscious, problems go on dropping. You need not be worried about them. For example, a person is a schizophrenic, split, divided. Psychoanalysis will deal with this split, with how to make this split workable, with how to adjust this man or woman so that they can function, so that they can live in the society peacefully. Psychoanalysis will tackle the problem. The schizophrenia, if this man comes to Buddha, Buddha will not talk about the schizophrenic state. He will say, meditate so that the inner being becomes one. When the inner being becomes one, the split will disappear on the periphery. The split is there, but it is not the cause. It is just the effect. Somewhere deep in the being, there is a duality, and that duality has made this crack on the periphery, on the outer rim. You go on cementing the crack, but the inner split remains. Then the crack will appear somewhere else. Then you cement that crack. Then somewhere else the crack will go on appearing. So if you treat one psychological problem, another problem arises immediately, and then you treat another, and a third arises. This is good as far as the professionals are concerned, because they live off of it. But this is not a help. The West will have to go beyond psychoanalysis. And unless the West comes to the methods of growing consciousness, of inner growth of being, of expansion of consciousness, psychoanalysis cannot be of much help. Now, this is happening already. Psychoanalysis is already out of date. It's archaic. The keen thinkers of the West are now thinking about how to expand consciousness, and not about how to solve problems, about how to make a man alert and aware. Now, this has come. The seeds have sprouted. The emphasis has to be remembered. I'm not concerned about your problems or with your problems. There are millions, and it is just useless to go on solving them, because you are the creator and you remain untouched. I solve a problem and you will create 10. You cannot be defeated because the creator remains behind them. And as I go on solving, I'm just wasting my energy. I will push aside your problems. I will simply penetrate you. The creator must be changed. And once the creator is changed, the problems on the periphery drop. Now no one is cooperating with them. No one is helping to create them. No one is enjoying them. Now you may feel this word strange, but remember well, that you enjoy your problems, hence you create them. You enjoy them for so many reasons. The whole of humanity is sick. There are basic reasons, basic causes, which we go on overlooking. Whenever a child is sick, he gets attention. Whenever he is healthy, no one gives him any attention. Whenever a child is sick, the parents love him, or at least they pretend. But whenever he is okay, no one is worried about him. No one thinks to give him a good kiss or a hug. The child learns the trick, and love is a basic need, and attention is a basic food. For the child, attention is even more potentially necessary than milk. Without attention, something will die within him. Attention is energy. When someone looks lovingly at you, he or she is giving you food, a very subtle food. So every child needs attention. And you give attention only when he is ill and when there is some problem. So if the child needs attention, he will create problems and he will become a creator of problems. Love is a basic need. Your body grows with food. Your soul grows with love. But you can get love only when you are ill, when you have some problem. Otherwise, no one is going to give you love. The child learns your ways. Then he starts creating problems. Whenever he is ill or with a problem, everyone gives attention. Have you ever observed in your house the children are playing silently, peacefully? Then if some guests come, they start creating trouble. This is because your attention goes to the guests. And now the children are hankering for attention. They need your attention, your guests' attention, everybody's attention toward them. They will do something. They will create some trouble. This is unconscious. But it becomes a pattern. And when you're grown up, you still go on doing it. For women, it is true that 99% of their illnesses, their mental problems, are basically love needs. Whenever you love a woman, she has no problems. Whenever there is some problem in love, many problems arise. Now she is hankering for attention. And psychoanalysts are exploiting this need for attention because a psychoanalyst is a professional attention giver. You go to him, he is a professional. For 1 hour, he looks at you attentively. Whatever you say, whatever nonsense, he listens as if the Vedas are being preached. And he persuades you to talk more, to say anything, relevant or irrelevant, to bring your mind out. Then you feel so good. You know, 99% of patients fall in love with their psychoanalysts. And how to protect the client-expert relationship is a great problem because sooner or later it becomes a lover's relationship. Why? Why does a woman patient fall in love with a male psychoanalyst? Or the reverse. Why does a male patient fall in love with a woman psychoanalyst? The reason is that so much attention is given for the first time, the love need is fulfilled. Unless your basic being is changed, nothing will come out of solving problems. You have an infinite potential to create new ones. Meditation is an effort to make you independent first, and second, to change your type and quality of consciousness. With a new quality of consciousness, old problems cannot exist. They simply disappear. For instance, you were a child. You were a small child. You had one type of problem. When you became older, those problems simply disappeared. Where have they gone? You never solved them. They simply disappeared. You cannot even remember what the problems were that belonged to your childhood. But you have grown and those problems disappeared. Then you were a little older. You had a different type of problem. When you become old, these problems will not be there. Not that you will be able to solve them. No one is able to solve problems. One can simply grow out of them. When you are old, you will laugh at your own problems, which were there, so urgent, so destructive that you had many times contemplated committing suicide because of them. And then when you have grown old, you will simply laugh. Where have those problems gone? Have you solved them? No. You have simply grown. Those problems belong to a particular state of growth. Similar is the case as you grow deeper into consciousness. Then too problems go on disappearing. A moment comes when you are so aware that problems do not arise. Meditation is not analysis. Meditation is growth. It is not concerned with problems. It is concerned with the being. So, how are one-pointedness, concentration, and meditation related in each other? One-pointedness, concentration, and meditation are not related to each other at all. This is one of the confusions prevalent all over this world. One-pointedness is another name for concentration. But meditation is just the opposite of concentration. But in most of the books, in most of the dictionaries, and by the so-called teachers, they are used as if they are synonymous. Concentration simply means one-pointedness. It is something of the mind. The mind can be a chaos, a crowd. The mind can be many voices, many directions, and the mind can be a crossroads. Ordinarily, that's what the mind is, a crowd. But if the mind is a chaos, you cannot think rationally. You cannot think scientifically. To think rationally and scientifically, you have to be concentrated on the object of your study, whatever the object is. The one thing necessary is that you are pouring your whole mental energy onto that object. Only with this much force is there a possibility to know the objective truth. Hence, concentration is a method of all sciences. But meditation is totally different. First, meditation is not of the mind. It is neither one-pointed mind nor many-pointed mind. It is simply not the mind. Meditation is going beyond the mind and its boundaries. They cannot be related. They are opposite to each other. Concentration is mind, and meditation is no mind. Concentration is mind, and meditation is no mind. In the West, particularly, has not known meditation. It has remained confined to concentration. Hence all scientific progress, technology. But it is not known and has not known the inner science of silence, peace, of being a light unto oneself. One-pointedness can reveal the secrets of the outside world. Meditation reveals the secrets of your own subjectivity. It can be said concentration is objective and meditation is subjective. Concentration moves outward, meditation moves inward. Concentration is going far away from yourself. Meditation is coming home to yourself, your innermost center. The mind, reason, logic all point toward the outer. To them, the inner does not exist at all. But it is a fundamental law of the inner reality that nothing is ever accomplished in the inner world by a reasonable man. It is an irrational, or better to say, super-rational approach. To know oneself, you don't need the mind. You need utter silence. The mind is always concerned with something or many things. There are thoughts and thoughts, ripples upon ripples. The lake of the mind is never rippleless. Your inner being can be reflected only in a mirror without any ripples. No mind, the absolute silence of all thoughts, the absence of the mind completely becomes the mirror without any ripples, without even a single fluttering of thought. And suddenly, the explosion. You have become aware for the first time of your own being. Up to now, you have known things of the world, Now you know the knower. That's exactly what Socrates means when he says, know thyself. Because without knowing thyself, I want to add to this Socratic advice, you cannot be yourself. Knowing thyself is a step to being thyself. And unless you are yourself, you can never feel at ease. You can never feel contented. You can never feel fulfilled. You can never feel at home in existence. Some discomfort, some misery, you're not exactly aware of what, but a constant feeling that something essential is missing, that you have everything and yet something which can make everything meaningful is absent. Your palace is full of all the treasures of the world, but you are empty. Your kingdom is big, but you are absent. This is the situation of the modern man. Hence the constant feeling of meaningless, anxiety, anguish, angst. The modern mind is the most troubled mind that has ever existed for the simple reason that man has become of age. A buffalo is not disturbed about the meaning of life. The grass is his meaning of life. More than that, all is useless. The trees are not interested in the meaning of life. Just a good shower and a rich soil and a beautiful sun, and life is a tremendous joy. No tree is an atheist. No tree ever doubts, except for man. Doubt does not exist in existence. Except for man, nobody looks worried. Even donkeys are not worried. They look so relaxed, so philosophically at ease. They have no fear of death, no fear of unknown, no concern of the tomorrow. It is only man and his intelligence that has given him a very difficult life, a constant torture. You try to forget it in 1,001 ways, but it goes on coming back again and again and again. And this will continue until your last breath, unless you know something of meditation, unless you know how to turn inward, how to have a look at your own inferiority or interiority. And suddenly, all meaninglessness disappears. On a very high level, you are again as at ease as the trees. At a very high consciousness, you are as relaxed as the whole of existence. But your relaxation has a beauty to it. It is conscious. It is alert. It knows that it is. It knows that while the whole of existence is asleep, it is awake. What is the point of a beautiful sunrise if you're asleep? What is the beauty of a rose if you are asleep? The mind is your sleep, concentrated or not. Meditation is your awakening. The moment you awake, sleep disappears. And with it all, the dreams, all the projections, all the expectations, all desires, suddenly you are in a state of desirelessness, non-ambition, unfathomable silence. And only in this silence blossoms flower in your being. Only in this silence the lotuses open their petals. Remember that any teacher who says to you that concentration is meditation is committing a great crime, not knowing that he is misleading you, and misleading you on such a fundamental subject. He is far more dangerous than somebody who can kill you. He is killing you far more significantly and deeply. He is destroying your consciousness. He is destroying your possibility to open the doors of all the mysteries that you are. Concentration has nothing to do with meditation. But we've all been told by Christians, by Hindus, by Mohammedans, by all our so-called organized religions to concentrate on God. Concentrate on a certain mantra. Concentrate on the status of Buddha, but concentrate. And remember, whether you concentrate on a hypothetical God that nobody has ever seen and nobody has ever met, for which no proof, no evidence exists anywhere, you can go on concentrating on an empty hypothesis that is not going to reveal you to yourself. Concentrate on a statue, which is man-made, manufactured by you. You can go on concentrating, but you will not find anything to transform your being. Or concentrate on scriptures, mantras, chantings. But all those efforts are an exercise in utter futility. Go beyond the mind. And the way beyond the mind is very simple. Just become a watcher of the mind. Because watching immediately separates you from the thing you watch. You are watching a movie. One thing is certain. You are not an actor in the movie, watching the road and the crowd passing by. One thing is certain. You are standing by the side. You are not on the road in the crowd. Whatever you watch, you are not. The moment you start watching the mind, a tremendous experience happens. A recognition that you are not the mind. Just this small recognition that I am not the mind is the beginning of no mind. You have transcended the crowd, the voices, the chaos of the mind. You have moved into the silences of the heart. Here is your home, your eternal being. Here is your deathless, essential existence. Being without thought is meditation. Being without thought is meditation. When there is no thinking, it is then that we come to know the one hidden by our thoughts. When there are no clouds, the blue sky comes into view. And there is a sky within each and every one of us as well. Remove the cloud of thoughts so it can be seen, so it can be known. This is possible. When the mind is at rest and there are no thoughts in it, then in the silence, in that depth of no thought, in the total absence of thought, truth is seen. What can we do to bring this about? We must choose to do something very simple. But we will find it very difficult because we have become so complex. What is possible for a newborn baby is impossible for you. The child simply looks and does not think. He just sees. And just seeing is wonderful. This is the secret. The key that can unlock the gate of truth. I'm seeing you. I'm just seeing you. Do you follow me? I'm seeing you. I am just seeing you. I am just seeing you. I am not thinking. And then an unprecedented calm. A living silence descends upon me. And then everything is seen and everything is heard, but nothing within is disturbed. Everything is seen, everything is heard, but nothing within is disturbed. There is no reaction inside. There are no thoughts. There is only seeing. Right awareness is the method of meditation. You have to see, only to see what is without and what is within. There are objects without and thoughts within. You have to look at them without any purpose whatsoever. There is no purpose, just seeing. You are a witness, a detached witness, and you are simply seeing. This observing, this watchfulness, gradually leads you into peace, into emptiness, into the void, into being without thoughts. Try it, and you will know. As thoughts dissolve, consciousness awakens and comes to life. Just casually stop a while, anywhere, anytime. Just look and listen and be a witness to the world and to yourself. Don't think, just be a witness and see what happens. Then let this witnessing spread. Let it pervade all your physical and mental activities. Allow it to be with you always. If there is witnessing, your ego will cease to be, and you will see, will realize what you really are. The I will die, and the self will be attained. In this practice of witnessing, in this observing of one's mental state, an easy transformation takes place between what is being witnessed and the one that is the witness. As you observe your thoughts, you get glimpses of the one that is observing. Then one day, the one who is seeing appears in all his majesty and glory, and all your poverty and wretchedness come to an end. This is not a method that can be practiced only once in a while and still attain liberation. It is to be practiced continuously, night and day. As you practice witnessing, as you move more into the state of witnessing, that state becomes more stable and begins to be present all the time. Gradually, it starts to be with you all the time, both awake and asleep. It even begins to be present in sleep. And when this happens, when it is present even in sleep, you can be certain it has gone deep within. It has spread its roots far and wide. Today you are asleep even when you are awake. Tomorrow you will be awake even when you are asleep. This witnessing dissolves thoughts by awakening us from our dreams and from our sleep. The waves dissolve in a mind free from thoughts and dreams. The mind becomes calm, waveless, without a tremor, just as the sea is calm when there are no waves, just as the flame of a lamp does not flicker when no breeze blows in the house. It is in this state that godliness is known, the one who is the self, who is me, who is truth. And then the gates to the palace of godliness are open. This gate, this entrance, does not lie in words. It lies in the self. That is why I say not to dig elsewhere in words, but to dig within yourself. Don't go anywhere else. Go into yourself. To transcend the mind is the whole heart and art of meditation. And the East has devoted almost 10,000 years to the single purpose. All its intelligence and genius of discovering how to transcend the mind and its conditionings. That whole effort of 10,000 years has culminated in refining the method of meditation. In a single word, meditation means watching the mind, witnessing the mind. If you can witness the mind, just silently looking at it, without any justification, without any appreciation, without any condemnation, with no judgment at all, for or against, simply watching, as if you have nothing to do with it. It is just the traffic that goes on in the mind. Stand by the side and watch it. And the miracle of meditation is that just by watching it, it slowly, slowly, slowly disappears. The moment the mind disappears, you come to the last door, which is very fragile. And that is not polluted by the society, your heart. In fact, your heart immediately gives you away. It never prevents you. It is ready almost every moment for you to come to it, and it will open the door toward the being. The heart is your friend. The head is your enemy. The body is your friend. The heart is your friend. But just in between the two stands the enemy, like a Himalaya, a big wall of mountain. But it can be crossed by a simple method. Gautam Buddha called the method Vipassana. Patanjali called the method Ayan. And the Sanskrit word Dayan, Ayan, became in China Chan. And in Japanese it became Zen. But it is the same word in English. There is no exact equivalent for Zen or Chan. We arbitrarily use the word meditation. But you should remember, whatever meaning is given to the word meditation in your dictionaries is not the meaning as I am using it. All the dictionaries will say meditation means thinking about something. Whenever I say to a Western mind, meditate, the immediate question is, on what? The reason is that in the West, meditation never developed to the point of the Cha or Zen have developed in the East. Meditation means simply awareness, not thinking about something or concentrating on something or contemplating something. The Western word is always concentrated with something, concerned with something. Now, as meditation is used from some of our perspectives, I'm using it simply means a state of awareness, just like a mirror. Do you think a mirror is trying to concentrate on something? Whatever comes before it is reflected, but the mirror is unconcerned. Whether a beautiful woman comes before it, or an ugly woman comes before it, or nobody comes before it, is it absolutely unconcerned? It is absolutely unconcerned. A simple reflective source. Meditation is only a reflecting awareness. You simply watch whatever comes in front of you. You simply watch whatever comes in front of you. And by this simple watching, the mind disappears. You have heard about miracles, but this is the only miracle. All other miracles are simply stories. Jesus walking on water, or turning water into wine, or making dead people come to life, again, are all beautiful stories. If they are symbolically understood, they have great significance. But if you insist that they are historical facts, then you are being simply stupid. Symbolically, they are beautiful. Symbolically, every master in this world is bringing people to life who are dead. And what am I doing? Here, in this now, pulling people out of their graves. Jesus pulled out Lazarus after he had been dead only 4 days. And understand, figuratively, I've been pulling people out who have been dead for years, for lives. And because they have lived in their graves so long, they are very reluctant to come out. They give all their resistance. What are you doing? This is our house. We have lived here peacefully. Don't disturb us. Symbolically, it is right. Every master is trying to give you a new life, as you are. You are not really alive. You are just vegetating. If the miracles are interpreted as metaphors, they have a beauty. I'm reminded of a strange story which Christians have completely dropped from their scriptures. But it exists in the Sufi literature. The Sufi story is about Jesus. Jesus is coming into a town. Just as he enters, he sees a man whom he recognizes. He had known him before. He was blind, and Jesus had cured his eyes. That man is running after a prostitute. Jesus stops the man and asks him, "You remember me?" He said, "Yes, I remember you, and I can never forgive you. I was blind, and I was perfectly happy because I had never seen any beauty. You gave me eyes. Now tell me, what am I to do with these eyes? These eyes are attracted toward beautiful women." Jesus could not believe. He was stunned and shocked. "I thought I had done a great service to this man, and he is angry. He is saying, before you gave me eyes, I never thought about women. I never thought that there were prostitutes. But since you have given me eyes, you have destroyed me." Jesus leaves the man without saying anything. There is nothing to say. And as he moves on, he finds another man lying in the gutter, saying all kinds of meaningless things. Completely drunk, Jesus pulls him out of the gutter and recognized that he had healed his legs. But now he's feeling a little shaky himself. He asks the man, "Do you know me?" The man says, "Yes, I know you. Even though I'm drunk, I cannot forgive you. It is you who disturbed my peaceful life. Without legs, I could not go anywhere. I was a peaceful person. No fighting, no gambling, no question of friends, no question of going to the pub. You gave me legs, and since then, I have not found a single moment of peacefulness, of sitting silently. I'm running after this, after that, and in the end, when I am tired, I get drunk. And you can see yourself what is happening to me. You are responsible for my situation. You should have told me beforehand. If I was getting legs, all these problems were going to arise. You didn't warn me. You simply cured me without even asking my permission." Jesus became so freaked, he left the city. He did not go any further. He said, "Who knows what kind of people I'm going to meet?" But as he was coming out of the city, he saw a man who was trying to hang himself from a tree. He said, "Wait, what are you doing?" He said, "You have come again. I was dead. You forced me to be alive again. Now I don't have employment. My wife has left me because she thinks a man who has died cannot be revived. She thinks I'm a ghost. Nobody wants to meet me. Friends simply don't recognize me. I go into the city and people don't look at me. Now, what do you want me to do? And now when I am going to hang myself, you are here again. What kind of revenge are you taking? Can't you leave me alone? Now I cannot even hang myself. Once I was dead and you revived me. If I hang myself, you're going to revive me again. You are so intent on making miracles, you don't even care who the sufferers of your miracles are." Now, when I came to this story, I loved it. Every Christian should know it. There is no miracle except one, and that is the miracle of meditation that takes you away from the mind. The heart is always welcoming you. It is always ready to give you a way, to guide you toward your being. And the being is your wholeness. It is your ultimate well-being. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Feelings are what make life extremely rich and wonderful. They give our life dimension and create a more intimate and personal experience of reality. Our feelings enable us to heal ourselves as well as accept the infinite mystery of this life. For today, allow yourselves to let down your protective shields with the world and explore how you really feel about yourself, others, and the world today. Give yourself permission to feel everything and anything you can. Invite in and explore every type of feeling that comes into your body today. Confront the feelings you've been avoiding and breathe deeply into them. Sit with them and simply feel them. Keep your mind and heart open to this rich, rewarding, egoless experience. This is your turn to be emotionally free. Trust your feelings. Stop resisting them. Dive into each one with an open heart, full of curiosity, wonder, and courage. When you stop trying to manage and control your emotions, they will transform you from the inside out. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and following morning. We will return here Monday, October 31st, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.